Easy humanly good English. The truth about aging and nutrition, particularly for those navigating their golden years, is often obscured by conventional wisdom and outdated advice, a reality I came to understand profoundly after witnessing my own grandmother's struggle, who, despite diligently consuming foods doctors deemed healthy, endured years of debilitating joint pain, a stark contrast to the vitality she deserved. What I subsequently unearthed about senior nutrition fundamentally reshaped my perception, revealing that certain commonly consumed vegetables, far from being universally beneficial, can actively accelerate the aging process for individuals over 60, silently eroding energy levels and exacerbating chronic conditions right from within their own kitchens. For far too long, the medical establishment has propagated a blanket belief that all vegetables are unequivocally good, urging us to eat our greens and fill our plates with colorful produce, an instruction that, while well-intentioned, overlooks a critical physiological shift. The aging body, at 60, 70, or 80, processes food with a fundamentally different metabolic machinery than it did at 30, meaning foods once nourishing can, paradoxically, become detrimental, fostering inflammation and impeding vital functions. My 2-year deep dive into the intricate science of aging and nutrition, spurred by my grandmother's passing, unveiled that her unwavering adherence to dietary guidelines and supplement regimens, while seemingly virtuous, couldn't prevent her chronic inflammation, nocturnal joint agony, or the relentless draining of her life force. The realization struck me that our approach to senior nutrition had been fundamentally flawed, failing to account for the age-related transformations in our digestive systems, where stomach acid production wanes, gut bacteria compositions alter, and the body's capacity to efficiently process specific compounds diminishes, turning once beneficial dietary choices into insidious agents that fuel inflammation, obstruct nutrient absorption, and contribute directly to the very health issues seniors strive to prevent. Among these covert culprits, the first category quietly working against older adults are nightshades, particularly tomatoes, a notion that might initially sound preposterous given their ubiquitous presence in pasta sauces, salads, and soups. Yet, for an aging physiology, regular tomato consumption introduces elevated levels of solanine and other glycoalkaloids, compounds that younger, more robust bodies process with ease, but which, as our liver's detoxification capabilities naturally decelerate with age, begin to accumulate perniciously within joints, igniting inflammation that manifests as persistent stiffness, throbbing pain, and a noticeable reduction in mobility. A pattern often emerges if one carefully observes the correlation between consuming tomato-based dishes and an exacerbation of arthritic symptoms. Underscoring this hidden dynamic, beyond their alkaloid content, tomatoes are also notably acidic, a characteristic problematic for senior bodies already grappling with maintaining acid-base balance, forcing the body into an arduous compensatory effort to neutralize this acidity by meticulously drawing essential minerals like calcium from bones and magnesium from muscles, thereby subtly but inexorably weakening the skeletal system with each seemingly innocuous bowl of tomato soup. The candid admission from my grandmother's doctor, who casually noted a prevalence of heavy tomato consumption among his senior patients with severe arthritis, but refrained from advising cessation due to non-definitive research, served as a powerful revelation. While scientific consensus might lag, the empirical pattern observed in real lives speaks volumes. The second vegetable, stealthily undermining senior vitality, a discovery that was particularly disheartening given its celebrated health halo, is raw spinach. We've been indoctrinated to equate spinach with peak health, strength, and boundless vitality. Yet, for older individuals, raw spinach presents a formidable challenge due primarily to its exceptionally high oxalate content. Oxalates are naturally occurring compounds known to form crystalline structures within the body. While younger individuals typically process and eliminate these crystals efficiently, the diminished function of senior kidneys struggles significantly with this task. Consequently, the regular intake of high oxalate foods like raw spinach leads to an accumulation of these microscopic crystals, which then lodge themselves in joints, triggering pain and inflammation, or coalesce to form painful kidney stones. More insidiously, oxalates have a proclivity to bind with crucial minerals such as calcium and iron, effectively hijacking their absorption and depriving the body of vital nutrients. What makes this particularly deceptive is that the symptoms of oxalate buildup, joint pain, pervasive fatigue, a persistent brain fog, and various digestive disturbances so closely mimic what is conventionally dismissed as normal aging. Many seniors, virtuous in their dietary choices, continue to consume spinach salads, believing they are nurturing their health, unaware that these calcium oxalate crystals are not only assaulting their joints, but also directly impairing cellular energy production by interfering with mitochondrial function. This cellular-level assault can explain that inexplicable afternoon fatigue often attributed solely to advancing age. A small, real-world experiment where 11 out of 12 seniors reported significant improvements in joint pain and energy after eliminating raw spinach for 6 weeks offered compelling, albeit unscientific, evidence for this theory. The third vegetable identified as accelerating aging is bell peppers, especially the vibrant red, yellow, and orange varieties that appeal to our senses and are lauded for their antioxidant properties by nutritionists. While visually appealing, bell peppers pose a dual problem for the aging body. As fellow members of the nightshade family, they harbor the same inflammatory alkaloids found in tomatoes, contributing to systemic inflammation. Furthermore, bell peppers frequently appear on the Environmental Working Group's Dirty Dozen list, indicating heavy pesticide contamination. This environmental burden is significantly more impactful for seniors whose liver detoxification capacity has markedly declined with age. A pesticide load that a 30-year-old body might efficiently metabolize becomes a substantial toxic burden for a 70-year-old system, with these chemicals accumulating in fatty tissues, including the brain, potentially contributing to cognitive decline, hormonal disruptions, and widespread inflammation. Even organic bell peppers are not without their issues for seniors, being notably high in lectins, proteins that can provoke digestive distress and inflammation in an aging gut whose intestinal lining often becomes more permeable with time, leading to heightened sensitivities. The consequence can be uncomfortable, bloating, chronic digestive discomfort, and systemic inflammation manifesting as joint pain and fatigue, as vividly demonstrated by an 82-year-old neighbor whose consistent consumption of bell peppers in her daily meals was a direct precursor to her digestive issues and joint stiffness, both of which dramatically resolved within 3 weeks of their elimination from her diet. It is truly fascinating to reflect upon how traditional cultures intuitively grasped these complex principles long ago. Chinese medicine, for instance, has always recognized the imperative for dietary adjustments across different life stages, while Ayurveda emphasizes the weakening of digestive fire as we age, necessitating different foods to maintain internal balance. Yet, somewhere amidst the rise of modern Western nutritional paradigms, this profound ancient wisdom was largely discarded, replaced by a reductionist, one-size-fits-all approach that prescribed universal dietary guidelines, often suitable for a healthy 35-year-old, but potentially detrimental for those in their golden years. Traditional Chinese medicine insightfully advises that senior bodies thrive on warming, easily digestible foods, considering raw, cold items like spinach salads and fresh peppers to be too cooling and dampening for aging systems, instead advocating for cooked, warm preparations that actively support digestion and enhance circulation, a testament not to primitive thinking, but to a sophisticated, time-tested understanding of human physiological transformation. However, the narrative is not solely one of avoidance and restriction. There exists a counterpart of restorative vegetables capable of rejuvenating energy and mending joints. The first such healer is ginger root, which, botanically speaking, is indeed a vegetable and, arguably the most potent anti-inflammatory food available to seniors. Unlike the problematic vegetables, ginger's benefits seem to amplify with age, directly bolstering the very bodily systems that experience natural decline. It powerfully stimulates the digestive fire, significantly improves circulation, and boasts unique compounds called gingerols, specifically adept at combating the chronic low-grade inflammation that so often afflicts older bodies. What elevates ginger to an indispensable ally for joint health is its capacity to not merely quell inflammation, but to actively aid in cartilage repair, with studies indicating that regular consumption can stimulate the production of compounds essential for rebuilding joint tissue, a profound difference from pharmaceutical solutions that primarily mask pain. Ginger offers genuine healing of the underlying damage. Its circulation-boosting properties are particularly vital for seniors, as diminishing blood flow is a natural consequence of aging, leading to reduced oxygen and nutrient delivery to joints, muscles, and organs. Ginger acts as a natural vasodilator, warming the body from within and ensuring improved blood flow to areas previously starved of proper nourishment. For optimal benefits, fresh ginger root is paramount, sliced thinly for a soothing tea, grated into warming soups and stews, or juiced fresh. Even a quarter-inch piece daily is sufficient to begin experiencing its powerful effects, urging a cautious start due to its potency. The second healing vegetable, destined to transform perspectives on energy and blood sugar management for seniors, is the sweet potato. While many older adults have been conditioned to fear carbohydrates and adhere to restrictive low-carb diets for blood sugar and weight control, such advice can often be counterproductive for aging bodies. Sweet potatoes offer complex carbohydrates that are crucial fuel for the aging brain and muscles, as the brain relies primarily on glucose, and severe carbohydrate restriction can compromise cognitive function. Yet, sweet potatoes deliver this energy in a form uniquely suited for senior metabolism, with their abundant fiber slowing digestion, preventing sharp blood sugar spikes, and ensuring a sustained release of energy. Beyond energy, sweet potatoes are a treasure trove of beta-carotene, converting to vitamin A, which is indispensable for maintaining eye health, bolstering immune function, and preserving skin integrity, all areas where seniors frequently encounter challenges. Furthermore, their rich potassium content supports cardiovascular health and helps mitigate the muscle cramps commonly experienced by older individuals. Crucially, sweet potatoes represent one of the rare foods that actually become more nutritious when cooked. The heat breaks down their cell walls, rendering nutrients more bioavailable for aging digestive systems, a distinct advantage over many vegetables that lose their nutritional value through cooking. Roasting sweet potatoes whole with their skin intact is highly recommended, as the skin provides additional fiber and gut-supporting nutrients. Consuming them warm further aids digestion and circulation, with many seniors reporting significantly improved energy levels throughout the day when incorporating a portion into their main meal. The third healing vegetable, perhaps a surprising recommendation, is fermented cabbage, whether in the form of sauerkraut or its Korean cousin, kimchi. While raw cabbage can be challenging for some seniors to digest due to its fibrous nature, fermented cabbage is a vastly different entity. The transformative fermentation process effectively predigests the cabbage, breaking down its complex compounds into more easily assimilated forms, while simultaneously cultivating a rich ecosystem of beneficial probiotics. For senior gut health, this is nothing short of revolutionary, given that our beneficial gut bacteria naturally decline with age, precipitating a cascade of issues, including digestive problems, weakened immunity, and even adverse impacts on mood. Fermented cabbage actively works to restore this critical bacterial equilibrium. The probiotics it harbors do more than just enhance digestion. They exert a profound, direct influence on systemic inflammation throughout the entire body. A growing body of scientific understanding illuminates the intimate connection between gut health and joint health, demonstrating that a balanced gut microbiome leads to a measurable decrease in systemic inflammation, often resulting in dramatic improvements in joint pain. Moreover, fermented cabbage is an excellent source of vitamin K2, a nutrient frequently deficient in senior diets, which is vital for bone health, not merely by strengthening bones, but by orchestrating the precise deposition of calcium into bone tissue, rather than allowing it to accumulate dangerously in arteries and other soft tissues, a critical distinction that explains why some seniors may suffer from osteoporosis despite calcium supplementation, while simultaneously developing arterial calcification. The key to unlocking these benefits lies in selecting naturally fermented sauerkraut, bypassing pasteurized versions found on most supermarket shelves, and opting instead for refrigerated brands that proudly contain live cultures, or better yet, embracing the rewarding process of home fermentation. A modest start of 1 or 2 tablespoons daily is usually sufficient, with gradual increases as the digestive system adapts. Envisioning a future where vitality is restored, where waking up means feeling genuinely rested instead of stiff and aching, where the day unfolds without that draining afternoon energy crash, and evenings are filled with the vigor to pursue beloved activities rather than succumbing to exhaustion in front of the television, is not a fanciful dream. This is the tangible reality that unfolds when one intentionally aligns their dietary choices with the evolving needs of their aging body rather than battling against its natural progression. The pervasive inflammation that has systematically siphoned away energy begins to recede, joints regain their freedom of movement, the digestive system once again operates with effortless efficiency, and sleep deepens and becomes more restorative, freed from the body's arduous task of processing inflammatory foods. Yet, the transformation transcends mere physical energy. When the body is no longer perpetually embroiled in a battle against inflammation and toxicity, mental clarity sharpens, often significantly alleviating the brain fog mistakenly attributed to normal aging, and mood stabilizes as inflammation's direct impact on neurotransmitter production diminishes. Countless seniors testify to a feeling of having reclaimed years of their lives, finding renewed capacity to engage joyfully with grandchildren, resume long-abandoned hobbies, and travel without apprehension about their stamina, a testament not just to extending life's duration, but profoundly enhancing its quality and vibrancy. However, embarking on this path requires a readiness to confront potential resistance from the medical community. It is crucial to understand that this isn't due to a lack of care from your doctor, but rather a systemic gap in medical education, where nutritional training is often minimal and the prevailing focus remains on treating established diseases rather than proactive prevention through informed lifestyle choices. Many practitioners may dismiss these dietary distinctions as insignificant, asserting that all vegetables are inherently healthy or that the anti-inflammatory benefits of certain foods outweigh their potential problems. In such instances, the power lies in trusting your own embodied experience over generalized medical advice, recognizing that the medical establishment often prioritizes population-level data, which can overlook individual biochemical nuances. Your body possesses a unique metabolic signature, and its responses to specific foods may diverge significantly from the statistical average referenced in clinical studies. This is not an advocacy for abandoning medical advice or prescribed medications, but an invitation to cultivate a deeper awareness of how different foods genuinely impact your well-being, using a food diary to meticulously track energy levels, joint comfort, sleep quality, and digestive ease over several weeks, thereby unveiling personalized patterns that can profoundly inform your choices. Indeed, this dietary enlightenment is but a single thread in a larger tapestry of cultural assumptions surrounding aging. We have been conditioned, in many societies, to passively accept decline as an inevitable concomitant of growing older, to expect increasing sickness, weakness, and dependency. Yet, this narrative is not universally true, nor is it universally experienced. Vibrant, energetic, mentally acute, and physically capable individuals in their 80s and 90s exist across various cultures. often distinguished not by genetic lottery, but by lifestyle choices, especially dietary ones, that harmoniously support their evolving physiology rather than working against it. The vegetables I've highlighted as problematic are not intrinsically bad foods. They may in fact be excellent choices for younger individuals. However, persisting with the same dietary habits at 70 as one did at 30 is akin to attempting to wear the same size clothing from decades past, an ill-fitting endeavor for a body that has demonstrably changed. This realization is profoundly empowering, not restrictive, underscoring the immense control one possesses over their aging journey, where even seemingly minor daily food choices can catalyze monumental improvements in quality of life. Navigating social dynamics can present an additional layer of challenge, as family members might express confusion or concern over your avoidance of tomatoes or raw spinach salads at gatherings, and friends might perceive your selective eating as overly restrictive or a fleeting fad. In these moments, it becomes paramount to remember that your personal health and well-being transcend social convenience. You are not obligated to furnish lengthy justifications for prioritizing self-care in a manner that best serves your unique physiology. Simple, polite explanations, such as, "I'm avoiding nightshades because they exacerbate my joint pain," or "raw leafy greens no longer sit well with my digestion," are often sufficient, precluding the need to delve into complex biochemical explanations of oxalates and alkaloids. Seeking out and cultivating a community of like-minded individuals, whether through online wellness groups, local senior centers focused on holistic health, or friends who are also embracing positive lifestyle transformations, can provide invaluable support and reinforcement. Furthermore, the economic implications of these dietary shifts are a valid consideration, especially for seniors managing fixed incomes where food costs are a tangible concern. The encouraging news is that the recommended changes are not only health-affirming, but can also prove economically judicious in the long run. Ginger root is remarkably affordable, and a small quantity yields substantial benefits. Sweet potatoes stand as one of the most budget-friendly and nutrient-dense staples available, and the cost of fermenting your own sauerkraut is a mere fraction of purchasing premium, store-bought probiotic foods with a single batch capable of lasting for weeks. More significantly, a strategic investment in anti-inflammatory, health-supportive foods holds the potential to substantially diminish long-term medical expenditures, translating to fewer doctor visits, a reduced reliance on prescription medications, and decreased spending on over-the-counter pain relievers, savings that can far outweigh any initial perception of increased food costs. Many seniors also discover that by eliminating inflammatory triggers, their appetite naturally self-regulates, often leading to a reduction in overall food consumption, allowing them to nourish their bodies more effectively while paradoxically spending less. Consider your personal trajectory 5 years hence. Do you envision a future plagued by intensified joint pain, increasingly limited mobility, and a steady decline in energy? Or do you aspire to be an individual who courageously defies conventional expectations of aging, having made intelligent, conscious choices about the nourishment you provide your body? The profound impact of this choice commences with your very next meal, and the transition need not be a radical overnight overhaul. Begin incrementally. This week, eliminate one inflammatory vegetable. Next week, integrate one healing alternative, and crucially, pay meticulous attention to your body's responses, allowing its feedback to intuitively guide your subsequent choices. It is a fundamental truth that while aging is an inescapable facet of life, a concurrent decline in health and vitality is unequivocally optional. Every single food choice made either actively contributes to inflammation and degeneration or steadfastly supports healing and vibrant vitality. There is no neutral ground in this equation. Each meal represents a deliberate step, either propelling you towards greater health or subtly diverting you from it. The ultimate transformative insight, the very revelation that shifted my entire perspective, is this. The primary reason most seniors continue consuming foods that actively undermine their well-being is not an inherent lack of information, but a widespread, ingrained acceptance that discomfort and diminished vitality are simply normal for their age. Yet what if the pervasive joint pain, the crushing fatigue, the persistent digestive issues, and the insidious brain fog are not, in fact, immutable markers of normal aging, but rather the direct, discernible consequences of persistently consuming foods that your body, in its evolved, mature state, can no longer efficiently process. The most potent realization you can embrace is the profound degree of control you wield over your personal well-being, far surpassing what societal narratives might lead you to believe. The very vegetables currently residing in your kitchen are poised to either fortify your vitality or imperil it. The power to choose resides squarely with you, and the optimal moment to exercise that power is unequivocally now. Your body has been your steadfast companion, carrying you faithfully through decades of life. It merits sustenance that reveres its current physiological requirements, not a diet rigidly adhered to from 20 or 30 years past. You are inherently deserving of feeling energetic, comfortable within your own skin, and possessing pristine mental clarity. These are not unattainable ideals, but the natural, emergent outcomes of harmonizing your nutritional intake with your innate physiology. The pertinent question, therefore, is not whether you can afford to embrace these transformative changes, but rather, can you truly afford not to? Each day spent continuing to consume inflammatory foods represents another day of accelerated aging, another day of needless discomfort, another day of settling for a vitality far less than your inherent potential. Your future self is unequivocally depending on the informed decisions you make today. Choose with discernment, choose with profound wisdom, and choose with the unwavering understanding that the trajectory of your aging journey is, to an extraordinary extent, within your direct control, commencing decisively with the choices you place upon your plate.